All right. I hope everybody's ready. Dude, we have literally talked for 4 minutes before this started. And like I said in a post on Facebook earlier, you're one of the only people I've interviewed that I have never spoke with. You know, we had a couple emails, a couple things like that, but I wanted to leave it fresh. So I didn't know anything going into this. I think that's going to make it kind of fun. So, guys, this is Nick. Nick, say your last name for me, though.
Parente.
Okay, well, that's how I was going to say it, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to butcher it. I am having some video issues, so I hope you guys can hear the audio just fine. But video may suck for everybody that's watching this. For the folks that are on the podcast later, obviously, you don't give a crap about video. You're listening to me, hopefully, while you're turning wrenches and stuff like that. So the Quick 16 is what we're on for tonight. Quick 16 is basically 16 questions, 16 minutes with Performance Automotive folks. Nick has a spin on that is kind of neat. And, dude, if you're ready, let's get into it.
Let's do it, man.
All right, man. So what was your first car?
So my first car was a 1991 BMW 325 iX, so E30.
Yeah.
And that started me off the BMW path.
That's awesome. How about your current number one project?
So the current project car is a 74 Land Rover, Series 3. Just got it running on all 4 cylinders instead of 2. So went from 30 horsepower to 60. So we're in a good spot with that one.
Nice. One thing, dude, I didn't even do this in the beginning. I can't believe it. That's how nervous I am. Why don't you introduce yourself and then tell everybody where they can find you, like on all your social channels?
Yeah, sure. So Nick Parente, I'm one of the founders of Respoke Collection. We do automotive artwork. So kind of like if you're watching the video, you can see behind me. We'll talk about that in a bit, I'm sure. But find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that at Respoke, RESPOKE Collection, and RespokeCollection.com.
That's awesome. I was digging through some of the stuff on there. You've got some pretty cool old car stuff, which, I mean, that's obviously what I'm into is old car type vintage stuff. You've got a lot of really cool stuff in there, and I like the detail. It's almost like you guys you animated a real car. I mean, that's pretty much what you do.
Yeah, I mean, these ones behind me are the a couple of cars that I've done little rallies and stuff with, and that's full like graphic liveries with a bunch of sponsors and stickers and all that kind of stuff, and we capture it all.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I see that LS Chevy Rider 254 is in here. Guys, you got to go follow him. He's 10K by Christmas Day is his goal for his YouTube channel. So bounce over there. Turlo's Garage just popped in here. He's going to be on Wednesday night. Sorry, we're taking up time here. What's the most recent car you've purchased?
The Land Rover is actually the most recent one. A couple months ago, getting it running. It's going to be parked for the winter and trying to fix some oil leaks, and then back on the road for the summer to the beach.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how about your current, what's the whole car fleet look like at your house?
Yeah, so you got the Land Rover. You got the BMW, first car, still have it. Just took it to a mechanic or a restoration shop to take a look at that and see what's that going to take to do it, and it's not going to be a good number. So got those two. And then my daily drivers and what tows the other 2 cars when they don't work is a 2003 Toyota Land Cruiser. So
nice.
keeps me getting places when I need to go there.
Yeah, and 03, is that a FJ80?
No, it's a 100 series. So the slightly newer one.
Yep.
It's like I bought that thing. You can buy a box that puts Apple CarPlay in it, and the thing is like a brand new car. Like I don't need anything newer than that. So it's awesome.
And hey, they're so nice. The we could talk Toyota stuff for a long time. I'm a big fan of those. We put an LS in a 62, and that was a super cool rig. How about one of your favorite car stories?
Favorite car stories. So a lot of good ones. I'll with the artwork I have in the back. So that red car there, it's a 640 convertible from BMW. That we took cross country for BMW's 100th anniversary. So 100 years of BMW. They were doing a big thing at Car Week in Monterey. We said, let's make a trip out of it. We drove Boston to Philly, or Boston to Pittsburgh, rather. Pittsburgh to Columbus, Ohio. Saw a bunch of BMW race cars that were in BMW's care there. Did Route 66 from St. Louis down to Albuquerque. And then did Colorado Springs, did Pikes Peak, did Bonneville Salt Flats, did all that jazz all the way on our way to Car Week. So it was 2 weeks of everything you wanted to do. I mean, the fact that we timed it with the salt flats was just like the icing on the cake. So we got to do everything we wanted to do in 2 weeks.
That's cool. That's a heck of a trip, man. You know, because I think when people think of that trip, they think, you know, Red Ball to Portofino, you know, and how fast can you get there? But like, I think that would be fun. And the 100th anniversary of Route 66 is coming up, 2026. Yeah. So I really want to make that trip that year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do the whole thing. How about the fastest mile per hour you've driven?
Fastest driving probably at Road America in the blue car behind me there. I think it was getting over 140 on the back straight there.
That's awesome.
Coming over a blind hill with a little bit of a turn there is not a fun spot to do it, but it's exciting to say the least.
Gets a little light. Here we go. That's awesome. We've had a couple corners like that here in town. When or what is your next event?
Next event I'd love to do. So the blue car was on, and Road America was on one lap America. Would love to do one lap again. That's probably kind of number one in my list of events to do next.
Yeah. Now you're in Boston, which is what we were talking about earlier. There are a bunch of cars and coffee up there, a bunch of really cool stuff, or like you guys shut down for the winter?
It gets pretty light for the winter. It's, you know, definitely a different ball game, but that's when you get to go down to Daytona, you get to go down to Sebring, you get to go to all these other places to do that. I also not a competition event, but the St. Moritz, the ice, that show out in St. Moritz, that's another one that I think is the next real car show I'd like to make it to. So
that's awesome. Who's your biggest inspiration?
Biggest inspiration, you know, I think there's a lot of people in the car world, again, from the BMW side. Somebody that kind of sticks out is Alex Zanardi. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Just absolutely awesome story. I've met him a bunch of times from some of the BMW stuff we've done. And he's really like the nicest person that, you know, you could ever meet. And when you hear his whole story and understand what he's been through to get there, and he still has this attitude, still has this personality, when it's inspiring, that's it.
That's cool, man. That is too cool. How about your closest tool to you? Anything in the office there? Screwdriver?
I don't have anything. Oh, I got a tape measure hanging out over there.
Nice.
The closest, or if you count a bottle opener too, that too.
Well, you definitely got to count a bottle opener. What's one tool you couldn't live without?
One tool I couldn't live without, probably. I just got into, or really what it is the blast cabinet, like a small blast cabinet. Being able to clean parts off without all the crap and the mess and the know breakaway and the 40, like all that kind of stuff, so much better.
Yep, and it's crazy. Like you either have your blast cabinet is either way too big or it's way too small. Like I want to get a wheel in here, but I can't put the wheel in and my hands. Or then you've got one, you're like, I just need to do this little part. I don't need something that takes up half the room, you know?
Exactly.
That's wild. All right. So this is probably a question that should be easily answered by a BMW guy, but are you a naturally aspirated nitrous or boost kind of guy?
I am naturally aspirated 98% of the day. But you throw a couple turbos on something and it makes it a hell of a lot more fun. So I won't say no to it. Yeah,
that's exactly right. We're turbo gang over here for sure. When you're in the shop and you're tearing stuff apart, what's you a WD-40 or PB Blaster kind of guy?
PB Blaster mostly, and there was actually a brand that was called Breakaway. That was the OG, and then now it's PB Blaster is really what I find.
Nice, that's awesome. Last one here, and then we're going to get into some kind of fun stuff here. Gloves or bare hands when you're wrenching on the Land Cruiser?
Was always a bare hands guy until recently. I got like nice mechanics gloves, and that just like changed the game because the crappy ones are crappy and they're not worth it.
Yeah, and they're too big, and you fuddle with stuff, and then you end up taking them off, and you're not going to put them back on. I mean,
the Land Rover is covered in oil, so regardless of what you're touching, you're going to get dirty. So
that's awesome. Well, since we have 6.5 minutes here, tell us a little bit about Respoke and kind of what started it, and then where it's going and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So a little over a year ago now, kind of mid COVID and all that jazz. Buddy of mine and I were, had some extra time on our hands, and we're just shooting the shit on ideas of what we want to do. And kind of came up with this idea to or he actually messaged me and said, hey, would you buy something like this? And sent me a picture of, somebody's car on the wall, basically, a picture of it. And I was like, yeah, funny you ask. Like, I actually have one already. And I had one that I had commissioned some guy on Instagram to make for me, 6 months, a year earlier. So after that, we kind of got into it and said, okay, I bet people will buy this. Everybody loves their cars, they're the babies. So let's figure out what it is. So we spun that up, started doing custom automotive artwork. So kind of upload a photo, turn into a piece of artwork, get it framed on the wall. And then we also from there have spun off and started doing a bunch of other artwork, celebrating the kind of best and brightest of different types of cars. So we got a nice little Land Rover series going. You can actually, that red one is that's my Land Rover. That's Series 3. And then plenty of custom artwork that we got going on there. So yeah, you see, you upload your picture and you get your car turned into artwork.
Yeah. And so is this as you're working through it, or like, is this the artwork itself? Because there's some, and I pulled it up here and I can't see what you guys are seeing. So I'm hoping it's not anything crazy, but like the Vet, the Lambo there. I mean, you've got a lot of really cool stuff. The one thing I did like too is the racetracks.
Yeah.
You start talking about shops and man caves and things like that. This is a ton of really cool artwork. I like the progression of the Porsche body styles and how you can move through all of that. So that's really cool. And I think that's why I wanted to have you on here, is because there's just such neat stuff. Yeah,
and that's the goal. It's like you get into the automotive space and you can get the signs, you can get the metal signs, you get the logos, all that kind of stuff. But there's not that much that's really kind of designed and a little bit nicer than the kind of bottom of the barrel stuff that you can get on Amazon or from Mopar or whatever. So we kind of try and do that and take it to the next level and make it a little more designed. So your significant other doesn't mind having it in the living room as well, as just rather than being cordoned off into the garage.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, we end up with that obviously from time to time here at the house. I'm like, I really want to hang this in here. She's like, no. You have a whole shop outside. You put whatever you want on the walls out there. I'm like, I don't have any room out there.
Exactly. We're raising the bar. We're getting it to that level.
That's exactly right. All right. So we got 3.5 minutes. What are some events that are in the Northeast that you feel like people need to hit?
Yeah. So, in the BMW world, one great one, and generally, beyond that as well, Saratoga, New York. So Saratoga Automobile Museum hosts a bunch of events. The BMW one is called Vintage at Saratoga, 100 plus BMWs, like craziest stuff, the rarest of the rare stuff will make it there for that event. But they do everything. They have obviously a museum going with rotating collections. They've had art cars there. They have a Porsche exhibit now. They have a history of New York racing exhibit permanently there. And then alongside that, every week they're doing shows. So they're doing stuff, on the lawn, open shows, invite shows, make and model specific shows, all that kind of jazz.
That's pretty cool. How long have you been up there? So let's see, I'm trying to think how far I was. I came to Philly once on a work trip. How far was I from you then?
Yeah, so Philly, probably like 3 hours, give or take.
I got you. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bunch up here in the Northeast. Boston specific has Lars Anderson, which is kind of a similar deal. Auto Museum, they do a lot of stuff around that. And then actually one of my favorite kind of models for events and things was, when I was growing up, we were not too far from Hemmings, their headquarters in Vermont.
Oh, cool.
Hemmings does a cruise in every Thursday night. So 5:30 to 8:30, something like that. No cost, no nothing. You just show up with a car. Doesn't matter what it is. You got the guys with the, babied pristine Corvettes. You got the guys with beat up Chevy K10, like the whole 9 yards of everything there. And it was just an awesome little melting pot. And you got miles and miles of great roads to get there. So,
well, and what's cool about cruise nights, and we got a minute and a half here, but cruise nights are fun because people are in and out. We end up getting sucked into a lot of car show stuff here. We pretty much don't shut down. There's not like an off season here in Northwest Arkansas, but it'll wind itself down. But cruise nights, I may be able to get an hour from the family, or cars and coffee. You know, it's always a big deal here too.
Mm-hmm.
And you run over for an hour, see your buddies, and then run home. Where a car show, you're like 5 or 6 hours. You know, I can't commit to that all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty awesome. Well, what are some future projects? We got 57 seconds.
All right. So some future projects. I don't know. You want car projects or non-car projects?
Oh, yeah. Car projects, man.
So we'll do, let's see. Actually, the big thing that I've been working on recently is the garage. So in order to tackle all of the automotive stuff, you know, all the car work, got to get the garage in shape. So I literally this weekend just got the mini split heat and AC working. That's cranking in there. I decided to wait to do the floors until I fix the oil leaks in the car. And then, so we've got all that stuff to do. And then I've got, the big thing now is, getting all the sound system and electric kind of hooked up in there. So it's going to be a little, sort of pseudo man cave going on in there.
That's cool, man. Just a cool spot to hang out. Well, we've got 8 seconds left, dude. I want to say thank you for coming on. I appreciate this. Like I said, you're the first time. This will not be your last time. I guarantee it. All right, we got to go. Tell everybody bye.
Thanks, guys.